Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. As always, we got Kelly. Kelly, how are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm doing great. We're ready to roll on this one. This is a good topic because we're going to talk about leverage today and a specific piece of leverage that anyone can use in their business right now.
Yeah, and it's, anything that we can do to get your time that is focused on prospecting, on actually working for your clients, getting things done, it's a win, right? So today we're going to talk a little bit about the showing agent model and a listing showing agent model, which you can do both and leverage those to buy some of your time back, right? Like that's kind of what we're all looking for. We're all looking for listings and we're all looking for more time, I think, are kind of the two big ones. So Kelly, let's get into it. Do you utilize this model in your business?
We do. Now let's start with the listing side because the listing side is really only applicable. It doesn't have to be, but primarily only applicable to luxury. Okay. Because a lot of home sellers who are selling their house, they want their agent or agent team representative to be present for all showings, in addition to the buyer's agent and the buyer, right? Now, in some of the markets across the country, you guys are probably thinking, what? I never heard of this. Maybe that's quite possible, but it's actually a real thing in any market across the country that is more on the higher end. And certainly here in the Phoenix area, it definitely is. So that being said, it's something that it's an extra value proposition piece that you can use. This could work even on, homes that are not obviously multi-million dollar. Yeah. If it's going to help separate you, to help win the listing, to get the deal, then maybe it's something you throw out there as an additional piece of customer service, right? Because it is real good customer service. And so if it's a $300,000 house, that is just fine, right? Now the seller may not expect it. Maybe they don't even want it. But the reality is, if you offer it, I think most sellers would love to have that. So it's just, but what it does is obviously it does, clog up your calendar a little bit, right? Because the thing about the listing showing assistant side is that you don't know when that's going to come, right? At least if you're on the buyer side, you can kind of work around your schedule. You can schedule showings that it works for your schedule. But when the buyer agent calls and says, "Hey, we want to see your house Saturday at 10 a.m."
You don't have control over that.
You don't have a lot of control.
You gotta say, okay, yes.
Yeah, that's right. So it does take more of your time. However, if you have a listing showing agent or listing showing assistant, either one you want to call it, model, then that certainly helps. We call it the LSA, and we run that in our business. So what we do is we have, usually it's a junior agent or an agent that's newer, right? But is still trained, has been on luxury showings before, and is very familiar with the house, and of course can articulate and talk well, right? And you have to be able to, be polished and show up there in nice clothes and so on and so forth, and brush your teeth and all the normal stuff, right?
Yeah. You got to look like you didn't roll out of bed and throw a trash can. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So you show up there, you actually tour them the house, either with or without the seller. After, of course, you've already won the listing, and you give them the details of the entire property. And it's very important because they are going to be your representative, your boots on the ground when someone says, "I'm going to see this house. I got some clients in town," or whatever, right? And you're going to be the ones doing it because, guys, if you're the rainmaker or the team lead, that is tough, right? I mean, you're pulled in a lot of different directions. And so to go at the drop of a hat to show a luxury listing is tough. I mean, even if it's not a drop of a hat, even if it's like, a launch open house that we have planned, right, for that weekend, that's still tough because it's time away that you are, really working on other stuff, right? Leadership things, maybe family time, or whatever it may be. So, is really, really, really good model to run, in my opinion. And we have a whole SOP detailed in terms of what their responsibilities are as the LSA. Okay. And we share that with the seller as well in terms of what we're going to do from a customer service standpoint in showing their house. Now, from a compensation standpoint, I can tell you right here, I got it pulled up. Right now, here's how we do it. A showing counts as any separate visit the LSA makes to the subject property with a minimum of 3 hours in between showings. In other words, as LSA, if you have 3 showings lined up and you go 11:30, noon, and 12:30, that still counts as one time because you just line them all up. Or you had them, or better yet, you know what? Have them come all at once if you want, right? If the seller's okay with it, and that can create kind of like an open house auction type atmosphere. Nothing wrong with that, because then buyer goes, I kind of like it, and there's 2 other people here, they might like it too, and then they all of a sudden get a little more motivated.
Yep.
But if there's a showing if there's 3 hours in between, that's what we decided to use, 3 hours in between the showing, then that would count as 2, even though it's the same day showings. Okay. Because what we this is all based off is the amount of times you actually show the property, because that's the time, that's the gas, right? That sort of thing. Okay. And so up to 10% of the closed transaction will be paid off the top to be paid to the LSA on whatever the gross commission is. Open houses, they do not count as a showing because the team lead will probably be there. Now, if team lead's not there, it certainly can count as a showing. Okay. So how we do it is they receive 5% of the gross commission automatically if they show between 1 and 12 times. Okay. On the and then if it goes higher than 12, between 13 and 20 showings, then it's 7.5% of the gross commission, and then it's 10% of the gross commission for 21 showings or more. Now, in this market, even in the high end multi-million dollar mark, if you are pricing the property halfway decent at all, and the house is actually truly, you're not going to get the 21. Let's just be very clear on that, right? It's going to be most likely under the 12 showing mark, right? Even if it's $4 million, in a nice area of some city across the country somewhere. So that shouldn't probably take place. But you have to understand, this is written prior to that, and we didn't change anything because we still want this to be a system that's solid and consistent, even when the market slows down at some point in the future, whenever that may be. So that's the listing showing assistant model. And of course, we have details on when they got to be there, and the lights to turn on, and the curtains to draw back, and all the details, the fireplaces to start, whatever it may be. Okay. So that's all detailed out as part of their job description for that property. And the cool thing is, on the MLS, they become the co-listing partner too as well. So they get the credit, or they get at least to be on that listing when it closes as credit for selling that property. Yeah. So that's kind of cool for someone who's maybe newer, but still polished and talks well and that sort of thing, to get their resume built a little faster. Okay. The second thing, going to the showing assistant model on the buyer side, which is what most people know of as a showing assistant. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is on the buy side. So what we do in this standpoint is we do the same thing. We actually have the lead agent, or whoever it is, right? Could be an agent on the team that just is busy and or maybe can't show or doesn't want to show, or whatever it is, right? They're in control of their own business. If you're on a team, at least on this team, you are still a CEO of your own business. Okay. You're just on this team because it's a roadmap. We have a roadmap to get from point A to point B faster, and we have a game plan.
You can learn from all of Kelly's mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. You're not on this team. Maybe some teams are different, right? You're not on this team to just be put in a corner and just kind of do 1 or 2 things. No, you have free reign to run your business. We have just all the tools and game plan help you run it more effectively and efficiently. That's what it is. So if you choose, whether you're just slammed or not, to have someone else show a particular client properties, that's up to you. And by the way, that's a great way to leverage your time if, of course, you're going to use it for additional lead generation opportunities to get more business or business development opportunities, right? Now, if you want to use it to just go hang out at the pool, you can do that too, but may not be the smartest use of your time.
It's not really buying your time, but
yeah, but that's what you choose to do, then hey, more power to you, right? Mm-hmm. To each their own. However, if you're serious about growing a business, growing a book of business, growing a database that's going to continue to support your business with future business consistently in the future, this is a great way to do it, as long as you're going to spend your time doing more lead generation activities. So how we do that is, once an agent decides that's what they're going to do, and they have a lead converted to meet, then we ideally want the showing assistant or showing agent to meet with the client on that first meeting with the lead agent, or the agent who's obviously using the showing assistant. because we want that handoff to be seamless and smooth. Now you can do it virtually or over the phone, with a group text, whatever. You can do that too, but it's also good for the lead agent to meet that person, because ultimately when the deal closes, that's still your client and you want referrals in the future, right? The showing assistant understands that. They know this is hopefully a win-win situation, because they know they can come in, do their job, get to go see some homes and do what they, and still be around people, because they're more likely a people person, make some decent money, and then don't have to worry about any of the maintenance of ever keeping in touch with that client ever again. Or if they call them late at night, nope, they ain't calling the showing assistant late at night, right, for a question about the contract or whatever. They're calling the agent, the lead agent. But what they are doing is providing the service of taking them around to see homes, getting the property tours set, getting all of the homes approved on that tour to be looked at that day, and coordinating all of that. And then when they are done seeing the homes for the day, they are then sending a recap to the lead agent of the homes, which ones they didn't like, or did like, and what came out of that day of searching. From there, it's handed back off to the lead agent. Lead agent then facilitates all communication in terms of maybe tweaking their property search or negotiating a contract or writing a contract if they want to move forward with the house. And the showing assistant is basically on standby until they may want to go see more homes. So now we also have the showing assistants trained when they first come in the team, if they're newer agents, on how to do this. And which is great. And it's a great experience, because they get to go out and see a bunch of areas of town and houses, and get to facilitate communications and conversations with clients. But the showing assistant is still expected to have a mouthpiece, right? To still talk to them and be, persuasive if need be, and to have an opinion. Now, when it comes to which house is better, house B or A, or some things they may not know, then they can say, you know what, no problem. I'm not really sure on that one, but I can guarantee you Kelly does, or her lead agent is. And so I'll make sure I tell this to Kelly, and he'll be sure to communicate back to you what the answers are for all those questions. Okay. That sort of thing. And there's people out there right now on this, Elizabeth, who this is great. This is what they want to do. Maybe they don't need the money. Maybe they do, but they don't really like all the what comes along with, maintaining the database and following up with the client forever and ever.
A lot of different activities. They're like, I just want to see houses.
I just want to see houses and talk to people. I get my energy that way. Right. Yeah. And by the way, I don't want to work all day. Let's say, right. I got to pick the kids at school at 2:30. I drop them off at, 8 in the morning, whatever it is. And I got this downtime in the afternoon, midday that I'm available, and, whatever, right. On the weekends when my husband's home or whatever, right. Or wife or whatever it is, I'm going to go ahead and have the kids be with them, and I'm going to get out and see some more, show some more homes, whatever it is. Right. It becomes a win-win situation for the agent who's busy trying to build that business and build that database and all the follow-ups and all the maintenance and all that stuff. Right. So it becomes a win-win situation, which is really cool. Now, from a compensation standpoint, what we do there is we do the same thing. We do it by the amount of times they go out showing. Now, there's all kinds of ways to skin this cat. A lot of agents have done it by the amount of homes you show, or the number of miles you drive. They get paid by that, and things of that nature. Some are hourly. Some get a little bonus at the end when they close. So there's all different ways to skin this cat, but we tried all those models too, by the way. We found what's best for our team is by the amount of times someone goes out. So here's our rules. The first time they go out, the showing assistant goes out with your client, automatically, you got to pay them $25. Okay. Through Venmo, Zelle, cash, whatever. You got to pay them $25. Whether they buy a house or not, doesn't matter. $25. Why? Because that will at least cover, hopefully, that should at least cover that one time out that first day, their gas money, if anything at all, right? And what it does, what we found is that it gets the lead agent to have a little bit of skin in the game, because it's easy to waste someone else's time.
Yeah.
Right. So now it doesn't sound like much, but I'm telling you, some people, they're like, $25. Okay. I better ask at least 2 more qualifying questions to make sure this person's legit, right? And they're qualified to buy a house. Whereas before, it's like, oh yeah, you want to see a house on Saturday? Sure, let me get Johnny over here to help you out, whatever. So that works out really well. And then what we do is we do it by the showings. Like I said, we 3 times. So if you go out 3 times, you're up to 5% of the gross commission. up to 3 showings. I don't care. Each showing, you could be one house or 18 houses. Doesn't matter. One showing is one showing in terms of a time out with the client.
Yeah.
Okay. And 1 to 3 on those is up to 5%. Then what we do is we go up to 10% if you are 4 to 6 times out showing properties with the client. Okay. If you are 7 plus, then you're at 15% and it's capped there at 15%. Mm-hmm. However, there is a way to earn 20%. And that is if you show the properties, you get 7 or more times out with the client. Then they go, you know what, on the 9th time, whatever, we want to make an offer on this house. And the lead agent's like, I'm too busy or whatever. I can't write the offer. Can you just do it for me? And they do it, and they actually write the offer up and they submit it, and they do at least the basic negotiations to start off with. That's 20% total. They get another 5% for that. And then it's really capped there. Unless, of course, the agent wanted to do some special deal, but that's our standard for our team. And it works really well. We tried all different ways. And what we found is the agents and the lead agents and the showing assistants and so on and so forth have come to kind of realize and all kind of agree, this is a pretty good system, pretty good happy medium, right? Because, let's be honest. If you go out one time, show one house, 5%, that's a sweet deal, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really getting your nice clothes on. If you're, a woman, putting the makeup on, right? Mm-hmm. That's the time consuming part. Once you're out showing one house, it's showtime. The glitz and glamour, the lights are flashing. You're in your zone, right? Mm-hmm. So if you show 1 or 6, it doesn't, a little more time and gas. It doesn't really matter though. You're out, right? So if you're gonna get all done up, right, to go out at least one time, and so one house, that's still one time, right? And that's why they found out that people actually on our team actually really like this system and think it's pretty equitable. And in this market, what's interesting, or whether it's good or bad, however you want to look at it, because inventory is so low, once you're a showing assistant and you go out with somebody, a lot of times now, outside of the first time, there's just one home, right? Yeah. Because now you've seen all 7 homes of your criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so now you're just waiting for that new one to come on and hit the market. Then let's go, right? But there's only one home to see. Mm-hmm. So there's a very good chance you could hit that 4th time out, be at 10% and only see 4 homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's happened. So I think
sure
this is something
in this market.
Industry. What's that?
So I'm sure that does happen in this market. So
yeah, all the time. So I think this is something that the industry really is lacking and really could use, especially the busy agents. There was like, I want to do listings, and listen, let's be very clear. Listings, you should learn that discipline. You should learn those techniques. You should become a listing agent at some point in your career. No question about it, right? No question about it. People control listings, control inventory, you control your schedule, you control how much your income, your future, blah, blah, blah. All right. That whole thing. So you should. However, there are a lot of agents out there, guys, that make a really, even a better living than half the people who try to do listings on the buyer side, even in a market like this. Why? Because they have some leverage to where their entire day, every day is not taking people out, right? Then they might do that here and there, and that's okay. But they are lead generating. And then when they get that appointment, they don't look at like, oh my gosh, I have now 6 buyers. I can't even get the other 5 buyers a house because no inventory. They look at like, heck yeah, new client, let's go. And they got, a showing agent or 2 or whatever, right, to help them facilitate that. And by the way, they don't like doing that maybe necessarily, but it's a win-win because the person doing it loves to do that. They would never want to do what you do, which is cold call people or business development and get hung up on or whatever it is, right? So it works both ways and it becomes a win-win situation. So those people are out there, guys. If you think they're not, you are fooling yourself. They're in every single city, in every single state in this country. So go out there and find them. If you need some help or more on clues on how to do that, be happy to share that too as well. But that is the quick hitting nuts and bolts of the showing assistant model.
For listings and for buyers, which I know that we're more familiar with the buyer side of things, which sounds like just real quick, I talk to a lot of agents and I often hear that, they want to focus more on listings for all the reasons that you said, but they're just not interested in working with buyers. And it's because they suck up a lot of time, right? Going to show all the houses, and you don't have let's be real, there's never a guaranteed deal, even on the listing side. But on the buyer side, that can be a little bit more, a little bit more normal that happens, that they can't find a house, they're just not going to buy right now, right? But if you can leverage a showing assistant, like we talked about, there's really no reason to completely close yourself off from buyers, because buyers someday will hopefully become sellers. So you're building your business that way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I know a lot of agents, and frankly, ours is somewhat like this. Let's say your number one buyer source is Zillow. Let's just say that, right? Because you're in the Flex program or whatever, right? You're spending a lot of money. If you're not in the Flex program, whatever. But a lot of those agents also say, if you flip the question, go, okay, what's your number one lead source for listings? Same, Zillow. Why? Because a lot of buyers have a house to sell.
Yeah.
So it becomes a really good lead source too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this one. We hope that you can, take that to heart and kind of something to think about there. Next week, we'll have a really good episode for you.
Yeah.
And Kelly, if they want to get in touch with you to ask you any questions about your model for showing agents, where can they reach you?
Yeah, always. info@kellycookhomes.com is a great email. And you can text or call 480-227-2028, day or night.
And if you are thinking about leveraging a showing agent to kind of start building your team, leverage your time, all of those good things, and you want to add more, regular agents to your team, go on over to buildyourrealestateteam.com, and Kelly will show you exactly how to do that as well.
Absolutely. Learn from past people's mistakes.
So that you don't have to make them. Exactly. All right, guys. Well, bye, Kelly, and bye, everybody. We will see you next week.
See you guys. Appreciate it, Elizabeth. Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.